Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Tachy Talks. This is episode 7, Special Pathways for Schools Outside of Ontario and Quebec. This is also the 4th video or podcast in our admission series. So lots of fun information has been happening. And thanks for joining us again this week. I'm Haley, and these are my friends.
Hello, my friends. I'm Advid Desai, friend of Haley. That's the only title I have going for me at the moment. And then...
My name's Kylie. And I have 2 friends, Advait and Haley.
Now I have one more friend, Kylie. So we are slowly increasing the number of friends I have.
Okay, that was so weird, but we'll roll with it. So what have you guys gotten up to this week?
This week? Oh, man. So... nothing much. I've just been relaxing a bit, been cycling still, been playing tennis. I got demoted in League, so I'm going to uninstall that game. If you don't know what I'm talking about, don't worry about it. If you know what I'm talking about, then please cry with me because I keep getting demoted. But other than that, that's been my week.
You want to know about what I did?
Yes, I do.
Please.
Because I didn't really do anything that exciting. Worked on my research a lot. Well, not my research, Haley, the research project I'm a part of, that Haley is also a part of. Worked on that a lot this week. And I did some exercise. I did not play League because I don't know how to play League.
I can teach you.
I don't really know if I want to figure that out.
Things that she indicated that she wanted to learn.
I don't think I let that.
I don't know if I want to teach you because I keep losing and yeah, you might not want to learn from me.
You know, okay, if we're going to talk about video games really quickly, my brother has a Switch, so I was playing Super Mario Odyssey a bit.
I love the Switch. I love the Switch.
It's good times, but my friends tried to get me to play Stardew Valley, and I downloaded it and never played. So I'm probably not very reliable when it comes to video games. So you don't want me on your team. But that being said, worked on my research, did some exercise, watched Netflix. I'm watching Outlander right now. I really, really like it. And then I'm going to a cottage tomorrow, which is really exciting. Or I guess when you hear this, I would have been at the cottage for like a week now. Time travel.
Okay, my turn.
Okay.
I'll carry on the video game theme. I actually started replaying Twilight Princess, Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess on my Wii for like the 80th time. It's my all-time favorite video game. So I started replaying that, so that's fun. We made some big moves on our research this week. Ooh, mysterious. And yesterday, well, a couple of days ago, now that you're listening to this, I went and I was a standardized patient for an ultrasound conference in London. So it was super cool. The doctors came around and echoed my heart. Turns out that I have trace, tricuspid, and mitral regurgitation, but so does 85% of the population. So it wasn't actually that exciting. And
that's kind of exciting. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, but so does 85% of the population. Like, I'm not even in the minority. Like, you guys probably have it too. But the cardiologist did tell me that I had a beautiful tricuspid valve. And I said, thanks, I've been practicing. And everybody laughed and laughed and laughed.
Well, that's pretty cool,
but yes,
Haley.
that was my week. It was super cool. They gave us like a point of care ultrasound textbook. I got to go to the hospital in London, which is really, really nice. Their simulation center is really, really nice. It was all around a fab time. I love medicine.
Can I throw something else in there?
Yeah.
That I did this week?
Yes, tell us, please.
I am working with one of my friends with this company called App Condenser. So, like, what we're going to do is look at professional school applications, like your ABS, essays, and stuff like that. And if you go on our website, you can find more information about that on appcondenser.com. But that's something we started up where we will, have kind of a one-on-one session with you, try to find out where you are in your application, and try to help you out. So if you're interested in that, head over to App Condenser. That's something I'm working with. But yeah, I think that's it so far.
Can't wait until you guys sponsor us.
I know. We'll do it eventually. We just gotta get rolling a bit.
So exciting. Look at us doing things.
Kylie, do you have anything else exciting that you want to tell us about before we start the episode?
Of course. I want to tell you about our disclaimer.
Yes.
as per usual, we're just students, and any opinions we share are our opinions only. We're not associated with the institution that we attend at all, and our views do not reflect the views of our institution. That being said, we're going to talk about special pathways today, and special pathways change every single year. So just like last time, if you're listening to this in the year 2030, we're recording this in the year 2020, and things could change by then. By next year, things could change as well. And these pathways, some of them that we're going to talk about today, a lot of them are new this year, so they might be tweaked for the next admission cycle coming up. So everything we say, don't hold us to it. We don't make any guarantees you're going to get in. We just want to help you out a little bit.
That's the power of the internet, though. Like, imagine somebody listening to us in 2030, and they're like, "No, you actually have to write 3 MCATs now in order to get in."
Oh my
It's
God,
so
don't even
competitive
say
now.
that.
You're not
Hey, I'm ready to go then.
You have to write 3 MCATs and average the score,
you have to write 3
and that's your MCAT score.
because they're trying
You
to
have to
see
show
if
your
you can-
longevity.
They're trying to see how consistent you are, so that's their new methodology
Consistent you are.
with your MCAT scores.
Oh,
All
dear.
right, let us start our special pathway with. We're gonna be following the same trend as our last week podcast. So let's start with University of Alberta for the first one. We will talk about all the MD, PhD stuff later altogether because that's just easier to do. But first, a cool thing that University of Alberta actually has to offer is the MD/MBA program. So you can get your MBA with your MD. In order, if you're interested in this, you actually have to contact the School of Business at University of Alberta and see how you can apply for this program. But how it works is that highly qualified students get the opportunity to earn both their MD and the MBA degree within 5 years. The students are supposed to complete their MBA before clerkship, I believe. So before the start of the 3rd year, that's when you take 1 year to do your MBA. And it's just a really interesting and cool opportunity if that's something that, you know, you're interested in getting an MBA. Another cool thing that Alberta has is the STIR program, the Special Training in Research program. This program is designed for those students who wish to participate in research above what is offered within their undergraduate curriculum. So students can join a research team and directly engage in biomedical research while fulfilling their MD requirements. And the thing is, in this Special Training in Research, the STIR program, you will have to do presentations, reports, and even a defense. So it's kind of like a 4th-year thesis if you've ever done that in an undergraduate program. Students that successfully complete their MD degree with the STIR requirements actually get a designation of Special Training in Research on their degree parchment and transcript. The application to apply for STIR is on their website, and what you need is a research supervisor at the University of Alberta. The thing also is that the MD and STIR students must receive a summer stipend support no matter what. Like, you have to receive paid summer research if you want to go into this program. And there are applications for things like that on the University of Alberta website. And once again, this is something you do like once you kind of get into med school. You apply for this Special Training and Research program once you are in med school. And I believe the application deadline last year was March 2020. I don't know what it's going to be this year, but I'm assuming somewhat the same. But COVID changes everything, so like we don't really know about that too much. But yeah, that is it for University of Alberta.
Alrighty. So staying in Alberta, we're going to move down to Calgary. And Calgary actually has some pretty cool application pathways. So we'll start with one that's brand new this year, and it's the Black Applicant Admissions Profile, or BAAP, or BAP, I think is how you would say.
BAP.
BAP.
BAP it up.
It's brand new this year. It was just introduced in 2020. And from their website, it aims to limit disadvantages Black applicants face during the application process attributed to their race or ethnicity. So when you're applying for this program, you self-identify on your application, and those applications will have members from the BIPOC community engage in your file review. There's also an option to include a personal essay, including why you've chosen why you've chosen to apply through that application pathway. So that's brand new in 2020. And again, as I was saying, because this is new, it might change for next year's application cycle. but it's really great that they're adding these pathways for Black students. So definitely take advantage of it. The next one is something that I have never seen before. This is really interesting. So it's called Pathways to Medicine. And this is a scholarship program designed for graduating high school students with an explicit interest in pursuing a career in medicine. You must be an Alberta resident to apply to this pathway, and you have to be from a low socioeconomic status background. Consideration will be given to applicants who are of Indigenous ancestry and or are from a rural community. Now we're getting to the very interesting part about this pathway. So this program provides financial support to assist with tuition and fees to support you during your 4-year undergraduate program. So they give you $5,000 per year for 4 years for your undergrad. This isn't for medical school. This is for your undergrad. This is an awesome program. Yeah, this is so great. And then they'll also give you up to $1,000 as a relocation fee if you're moving to Calgary. And then you're also guaranteed an internship after 3rd year. And this internship is valued at $6,000 for the summer. Yeah, this is really awesome.
Justin Trudeau money. That's like CESB money right there.
Did they say how many students they take?
I don't know how many. That's a good question. I'll look into that. But one thing that that's not all. That's just the monetary value of this program. There's things that have other great value. So you also have, you're also part of an enrichment program, and you get support and mentorship from the medical school faculty and medical students, and you get access to an MCAT prep course too. And you're accepted to this program at a high school. So the other thing is that you can choose any undergraduate program you want at the University of Calgary, and you're expected to regularly participate in their MD prep program with the Cummings School of Medicine. But once you finish this program, as long as you fulfill all the MD admission requirements, you're guaranteed admission.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I don't think there's anything like this in Canada. And I think this is great. This is breaking down so many barriers to medicine. So if you are eligible for this pathway and you're in high school and you're thinking about it, we'll include the website on our resources page, but it's definitely something to research.
Wow.
No, that's an amazing opportunity.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really great. Third and final pathway for Calgary that is an MD PhD is is for our Indigenous students, and it's Canadian Indigenous application process. Wow, I can't speak today. At the University of Calgary. So for to apply for their Indigenous pathway, you must submit a copy of your status card and for their files or other documentations of your Indigenous ancestry by October 1st, 2020. There's no reserved positions, but they've made the following modifications for self-declared Indigenous applicants. So you'll be considered a resident of Alberta. So you'll get adjusted MCAT scores as well as GPA, and it doesn't matter where you're from in Canada. They'll also, anyone who meets the application criteria as an Indigenous applicant will automatically be invited for an interview. And then they also, in their file review, assign a score to your file. So they'll give you a score, and it'll be adjusted so that the distribution is the same as non-Indigenous applicants in areas where there is historical data. Indigenous applicants have been consistently disadvantaged. So they'll adjust the coefficient or the score that they give for your file. But yeah, so if you are from Alberta, or if you fall under any of those application pathways, I think Calgary is doing a really great job at trying to break down barriers to access medicine. Haley?
I'm still just mind blown over that high school pathway. I think that every school should have that.
But then if every school had it, it wouldn't be as special.
Yeah, if they only had a couple seats for it. It's such a good way of breaking down barriers. I think it's such a good format for breaking, because you're
I agree with that.
You're supporting people financially through the undergraduate process, which is so expensive. That's such an expensive chunk on top of everything else.
Yeah.
Whoa.
The amazing thing too is you're getting all that money from the scholarship, but it's that mentorship and support that you're getting from the med school. I think that is really the highlight, in my opinion, of that pathway.
Well, I think if it even though if you had it at other schools, it wouldn't be as special. Only Alberta applicants can apply for that program.
Yeah.
Or sorry, Alberta residents. Yeah. So if they introduce that at Ontario at some schools, that would break down so many barriers, going from high school. And I was talking to someone about this program. The only thing that they said was well, what if they change their mind? But if you change your mind, you can always change your mind. You just leave the program.
I mean, well, Queens has quarms, which is not the exact same as this, but it's also similar in the sense where you have a more streamlined way from getting from high school into medicine, and also you have that freedom of picking any major you want in undergrad, which is really good. Like I stressed it in our like 2 podcasts ago, but like I think it's really amazing how you're not really forced to take a science degree, even though you're interested in going to medicine. Like if you want to do drama, or you're really interested in drama, that's your passion, but you still want to go into medicine, like you know, it's that sense of security knowing that you can like major in drama and still
That's
go
a really
into
really good point.
Interesting to look at like what the admissions requirements are like to get the scholarship, because I know that the problem with QARMS or QARMS or that one is that like you need like research and stuff as a high school student. So I think that even like though it is a more streamlined pathway, I feel like there is still some level of like the most privileged people or the people who have been exposed to the most opportunity in high school get those spots. And I mean, there very well could be the same problem with this one. I don't know. But
no, this one you have to be from a low SES.
You have to be
background.
low SES, yeah.
And
so
I have all kinds of requirements.
Yeah, I feel like that is the difference. Like to me, that's the difference between those 2 programs, and that's why I personally like this. I mean, not saying that QARMS isn't a good program. I'm just saying that like
yeah. Like they're different programs, different
programs. Yeah.
Targeting different
different
people.
Purposes.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, moving on to UBC. So UBC's pathways are all a little bit vague, but they do have lots of contact information on the website. So if you feel like any of these might apply to you, you should go to the website and email people, because what they outline on the website is quite vague. The first one, so they say that they save 5% of their seats for Indigenous students. Indigenous students can apply through the general pathway or the Indigenous student pathway, but if you choose to self-identify, you're automatically considered under the Indigenous student pathway. You need an essay, you need proof of ancestry, and then during your interview, your interviewing panel is an Indigenous panel. So yeah, that's all the information they provided about that one. You still need to meet minimum scores and everything. There's no score adjustment for GPA or MCAT. But if you do have more questions, there are like 2 emails listed on the website, and we'll link those pages and everything like we did for the Ontario schools. So check that out. For rural, they said that rural was a pathway, but it seems more like it's kind of like a residency pathway. So each applicant's suitability for rural training is assessed because they do consider they have 4 campuses and 3 of them are considered rural sites. And then they not advertise, but they talk about how there's return of service agreements for practice in rural settings. So basically, if you agree to practice for so many years in a rural setting in BC, they will forgive your loans and you can get residency easier and just stuff like that. But if you're just applying to medical school now, that's not something you need to worry about at the moment. And then if you have a PhD, if you've completed a PhD, the BC residency requirement is waived. So you're treated as a BC resident if you have a PhD. And that's important because preference is given to BC residents for the application process. What they define as a resident is anybody who holds a valid BC services card. So I think their services card, I think in BC they combine the health card and the driver's license into a services card.
Yeah, they
or
do.
Something like that. Yeah. So that would be like equivalent for us Ontarians to having like your Ontario driver's license and Ontario health card. So obviously there's a minimum number of years and everything that you need to live in BC to obtain that card, but they just directed you towards the province's website for all of that information. So that's something that you would have to look up about how to become a resident or how to get that services card. And then the provincial, like the residency thing is also waived if you apply under the Indigenous stream, if you apply for MD PhD, or if you have a PhD, then you, for all of those streams, you are considered a BC resident without having the services card. The last pathway they talk about is the disabilities pathway. So this can get you special consideration, but you still must meet a competitive average. I'm not really clear on what that means, but that's what they said on the website.
I think that's like 75% of for BC applicants you need in order to get into med school.
Gotcha. So you need to submit a special considerations form outlining for why you want special consideration and documentation of your disability for that pathway. And they made it like it's a very case-by-case basis thing. They didn't really outline what exactly they would consider. So that's something that, again, you would have to contact the emails they provided and see if you fit under that category, if you think you might. Yes, and then one more note for the BC residence thing. So I did mention, and we'll talk about this more later, if you're MD, PhD, you're treated as a BC resident. If you are rejected from the PhD portion, you're still considered from the MD portion, but you are now considered an out-of-province applicant. If you are out of province, you lose that BC resident bonus kind of thing.
Advantage,
that's the word I was looking for. Thanks. We're struggling with the words today.
I know.
Yep. But we're
been
gonna
a long
make it
week.
through.
Yeah, we're recording on a Friday. It's been a long
It's been a
long week.
Yeah, it's been a long week.
And moving on, Advait,
right.
You're up.
Thank you for all that information for BC. We're gonna move over now to Manitoba. So Manitoba has 4 applicant streams. The first one is for a Manitoba resident. And obviously, I'm not going to go into too much detail about what you qualify to be a Manitoba resident. I'm just going to talk about special circumstances where you could be treated as a Manitoba resident. So if you're wondering if you are a Manitoba resident, how that works, things like that, please go on their website and, just check it out. They do provide an excellent document with all the information you need. But special circumstances in where you're not a Manitoba resident but could be classified as a Manitoba resident. The first one is applicants who are a resident of the territories. A resident of the territories shall be defined as, a Canadian citizen, permanent resident of Canada, who at the application deadline meets any of the following 2 descriptions, okay? The first one is that you have graduated from a high school in one of the 3 territories, okay? So if you've graduated high school from one of the 3 territories, you're considered a resident of the territories. And the second one is you have resided continuously in one of these 3 territories for any 2 years following high school graduation. The 2-year time shall not be considered broken if the person was on vacation or like short-term or volunteer work outside of the place. So if you went on vacation for a bit, then that's fine. They don't really consider that as leaving the territories. But the main thing is either you've completed high school in the territories or you've been living 2 years after the graduation of high school in the territories. All right. So that's if you're, resident of the territories, you can be considered a Manitoba applicant. Another way you can be considered a Manitoba applicant are members of the Canadian Armed Forces and the people who at the time of application have provided, an evidence of a minimum of 2 years of full-time service in the Canadian Forces. You don't have to be in Manitoba serving your time, but the main thing is if you are part of the Canadian Armed Forces for at least 2 years, then you'll be considered in that Manitoba application pool, which I think is pretty cool. Now, a second kind of stream that they have, so you have the Manitoba residents, but a second stream is the bilingual English-French stream. The thing is, in order to be considered in the bilingual English-French stream, you still have to be a Manitoba resident. So it's kind of weird. This is kind of like a subset category where you have to be a Manitoba resident, and then you can go into a further stream, which is the bilingual stream. But the other things I was talking about, like being part of the Canadian Armed Forces or residing in the territories, also puts in the Manitoba stream. So that also qualifies you for this bilingual stream. Hopefully what I'm saying kind of makes sense. If not, please shoot us an email, hit us up on Instagram, Reddit, I don't know, whatever. Or you can also just contact the University of Manitoba for more information. But yeah, another stream that they have is the Canadian Indigenous Applicant Pool stream. So the University of Manitoba is committed to addressing the underrepresentation of Indigenous medical students and Indigenous healthcare providers in Manitoba. Applicants from all provinces and territories in Canada are encouraged to declare their First Nation, Métis, or Inuit heritage. So once again, like for this, you don't have to be a Manitoba resident. You can be anywhere in Canada for this Indigenous applicant stream. All eligible First Nation, Métis, and Inuit applicants will be offered both an MMI and an Indigenous panel interview. So If you do say that you're Indigenous, be prepared to kind of talk about it in your MMI and panel. You're also required to submit documentation to support your declaration of ancestry, and more information on that is found on their website. The last stream is the out of province pool, which it's pretty much like if nothing qualifies for you and you're a Canadian resident, Canadian citizen, then you're pretty much in the out of province pool. But that is everything for Manitoba.
Now we're pushing it all the way to the east. And
All
we're
of
going
this.
to Newfoundland and Labrador. So Newfoundland and Labrador is MUN, which is Memorial University.
I just love
and again,
saying
I'm just
MUN.
gonna-
MUN is so like
I
fun
know
to
MUN
say.
just like a nice
MUN
word
is
to say.
fun.
Where do you go to school? I go to MUN.
I go to
Do you
MUN.
think that's
Like,
our slogan?
So nice.
Oh my God, we had like an
Fun.
orientation planning committee Zoom call with all the Canadian schools. And if you're listening and you're going to MUN, you should be so excited because your orientation coordinators are so fun. They were like fun on Zoom. I can't, like, the fun was radiating off of them. So like it just seems like a great place to be.
Shout out to their orientation coordinators. If you're listening, we love you. I don't know who you are, but we love you.
Haley loves you.
Haley loves you a lot.
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Why can't you be like them?
They were, I don't know.
Oh,
They were
sheltered.
all on like the same Zoom screen, like on a couch. So I asked, I was like, so did you guys like move in together just so you could plan orientation week? Like, is that what happened? Because it was still during like isolation rules kind of thing. And they were like, yeah, that's exactly what we did. We all moved in together so we could plan orientation week.
That's
It was, like,
crazy.
cool.
That's so funny. I love that.
That's
Well,
great.
if you want to attend MUN next year to attend their fun orientation week that they put on apparently, there's a few different application pools. So, well, they're not really pathways. They're pools, kind of like Manitoba was, and there's 5 of them. And so the first one is for Newfoundland and Labrador residents, and there's 57 seats. So for all these pathways, you have to be a resident of that province, and they have a whole like bunch of different like classifications and way you could be considered a resident. And I didn't really think it was going to be that valuable for me to just read off their website. So again, we have a cool resources page. We'll have everything linked there. But for the Newfoundland and Labrador seats, there's 57 of them. You must be Canadian citizen, Canadian resident, and then go to their website for what they explicitly consider as a Newfoundland and Labrador resident. The next pool would be the Indigenous applicants, and there's 3 seats. And so for the Indigenous applicants pool, you need to meet the Newfoundland and Labrador residency requirement, and you'll first be considered under the Newfoundland and Labrador pool. And if you're not considered in that pool, you're automatically considered for the Indigenous pool. So there's 3 seats allotted for Indigenous applicants, and you need to meet all the admission requirements, and then you self-identify on your application. And then like all the other schools, you supply proof of ancestry, and then you also need a letter of support from your leader of your Indigenous community or organizational affiliation. So that's similar to the Indigenous applicants in Ontario that we talked about 2 weeks ago now? 3 weeks? Yeah, a few
2
weeks.
weeks, yeah.
So again, if you're an Indigenous applicant, you'll automatically be you'll first be considered in the Newfoundland and Labrador pool. And if you're not chosen for that pool, then you'll be considered for those 3 Indigenous applicant seats. The next pool is if you're from New Brunswick. So if you're from New Brunswick, there's 10 seats. And again, they have all different kinds of requirements that make you a New Brunswick resident. Check their website. There's a whole different bunch of ways that they consider you. And then there's also 4 seats for anyone from Prince Edward Island. Again, check their website for what they consider as someone from a resident of PEI. And then finally, there's 6 seats for out of province and international students. And that's pretty self-explanatory. If you don't fall under any of the other pools, you'll be an out of province and international student. And they do make a note on their website that there's usually 450 applicants for the 6 seats they have. So it is pretty competitive for MUN.
Jeez. So next up is our other maritime school, Dalhousie. There are 9 out of province seats at Dalhousie. Everybody else from the maritime provinces, there are an allotted amount of seats for each province, which we talked about last week. It's also on the website. And again, Dal is kind of like UBC that I talked about before, where it's kind of like really vague. So you might want to contact them and ask for more information. They don't have specific ways. You can self-identify as an Indigenous student, and you'll be given peer and professional mentoring and admissions interviewing prep, but you aren't given any, like, there are no different criteria. There's no specific path for you. There's no seats allotted. It's just you can get that mentorship and interviewing prep, which is still very valuable. There's also the plans, which is promoting leadership in African Nova Scotians. So those are for Nova Scotia residents that are of African descent, and those are the words that they use. They have to meet the minimum academic and non-academic requirements, and they are considered on the basis of their qualifications for the study of medicine rather than in relation to other candidates. So basically what that means is that instead of being compared on a competitive basis to everybody else who's applying, you are evaluated on your own from your application, and they decide, not comparing you to anybody else, whether you are suitable for studying medicine, I guess. Both of those things, Indigenous and the plan, you identify that you'd like to be considered as one of those in the section 1 of the application. So that was due on this past Friday, July 31st. But if you're applying next year, you can self-identify under either Indigenous or plans. And also under the plans, the promoting leadership in African Nova Scotians pathway, you do also get that peer and professional mentoring and admissions interview prep. The second thing they have is the widening accessibility stream. This stream is only for Nova Scotia applicants. You have to meet the minimum requirements for GPA and MCAT. And then basically in section 2 of the application, which is the part that isn't due until early September, you fill out a bunch of questions, like demographic type questions. So like your family's annual income, stuff like that. There are a couple optional questions you can fill out. And that's used to identify eligible applicants to be considered under a designated stream. They do not specify what these designated streams are. So I don't know if they're low SES streams or disability stream. I don't know exactly what the streams are because they don't say anywhere. You would have to like be in the application, and even then they don't specify what the streams are. It's kind of like you might fit under a stream, and by filling out this sheet we'll decide. And it's not a component of your file score, so it doesn't give you bonus points or anything like that. So again, very vague on how these pathways work, and I would really encourage that if you would like more information or you think you might fit under one of these categories, that you get in contact with the school to get those questions answered, because if you can fit under one of the pathways, like, it is definitely worth it to go for it.
Yeah, I think I just want to add to that too. Like, if you're thinking about applying to any pathway at any school, the admissions what's the word I'm looking for here? Admissions team at every single medical school. Committee, I guess. The admissions department, that's the word I'm looking for. Sorry, that took me a really long time. But the admissions department at every single school, they're there to help you. And so don't be afraid to email them. If you're confused about anything for the application process, definitely shoot them an email and they'll help you out and they'll answer all your questions.
Yeah, I think that's like for anything. If you're just confused in life,
email admissions.
Email admissions. If you don't know why you didn't make the soccer team, email admissions. They will help you out. They know the answers. They know everything.
They are the all-knowers.
But actually, like, they know everything, yeah.
Yeah, they do know everything.
Like, it's probably better to email us or I was about to say them and us at the same time. I just said thus.
Thus.
I was gonna say it's better to email them.
Why are we all struggling so hard?
Than us. Okay, my excuse is always that I wasn't born knowing English. So.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, Abby.
What do you mean?
You are so smart and multilingual.
No. Did
I'm
you not
serious.
realize what I just said?
I'm being serious.
No, but like, did you not realize what I just said? I wasn't born knowing English. No one's born knowing English.
Yeah, but you are multilingual, and it is quite impressive.
No. Thank you. I appreciate that. Dhanyavad, shukriya.
You're welcome.
What does that mean?
It means thank you in Hindi.
Oh, I was not expecting that.
I know. I'm just flexing at this point.
Yeah.
If you understood what I said, please, I don't know, like, what? Drop a like on YouTube. Hey,
smash the subscribe button.
The subscribe.
Follow us on Instagram.
I can't wait till we get sponsorships. Like, okay, guys, today's NordVPN. Today's Dollar Shave Club.
I don't know if either of those would be interested in a pre-med and medical school podcast.
I'll sponsor us with the app condenser once we get rolling.
This week's episode is brought to you by App Condenser.
For condensing your
This week's
application.
episode is brought to you by ASMR.
Hey guys. Okay, I'm gonna continue now because people listening are probably freaking out. Imagine like you're just on your bike ride listening to this podcast, and all of a sudden you just hear. Hey,
We're whispering in your ears.
should I just whisper my entire Saskatchewan one?
No, please do not.
That would make me very uncomfortable. So don't.
That would
do
make
it.
me
I am
uncomfortable,
not
too.
comfortable with the energy we have created in the studio today.
I would like to be excluded from this narrative.
If you understood that reference, drop a like, subscribe, smash the like. Okay, let's start. Saskatchewan residents. So similar to the last.
Listen to that pronunciation.
Yeah, I'm saying Saskatchewan now.
Saskatchewan.
Okay, wait.
Sorry,
before
I'll
we
let you
start
go
this,
now. Oh.
no. I have the results from the Instagram poll yesterday about if it was
please.
Chatham or Chatham.
Chatham.
Chatham. It's Chatham, we think. Not Chatham.
Davis said, "Listen."
You
Davis
guys
replied
are
back.
so boring.
Davis replied back saying it's pronounced Chatham. The tea company.
Shout out to Davis.
That's Davis. So I'm gonna roll with that. I'm just gonna call it Chatham from now on. But yeah,
Hold on,
Legit.
I'm pulling up the actual results. So, it wasn't like an overwhelming win though. Chatham had 67%, and then Chatham had 33%. So there's definitely some
I would say it's still
Chatham.
up for debate, honestly.
Yeah, I would say it's up for debate too.
just flip a coin at that point. Call it something different every time you go by Chatham, flip a coin, see what you get, and call it by whatever you call. You feel
Okay.
like
I
heads is gonna be Chatham always. If you get a heads, you have to call it Chatham. That's just
And you
how
have
it's
to
gonna
say it
be.
out loud. That's the most important rule. No matter who
you
you're
have to
with, you
yell
gotta
it.
be
You
like,
have to yell it.
I'm in Chatham.
Chatham!
Hey,
You know what
hey,
that sounds like? That sounds like a comic book when they have like bam, pow, when somebody fights somebody. It's like Chatham.
Yeah, you're right. It does.
Like you just punch someone.
One of my best friends is from Chatham, and I am thoroughly convinced that Chatham is the center of the universe. Everyone knows someone who knows someone from Chatham. That's what I'm convinced.
Yeah, that's true.
It's the center of the universe.
That is true.
I love Chatham. I had a great time when I visited Chatham last summer. Anyways, we can go into my Chatham adventures.
This episode is
Another
brought
day.
to you by the town of Chatham.
If you guys love Chatham,
Chatham Ken.
smash the like, subscribe. Okay.
Hey, Leah gave me a good tour of Chatham.
Nobody's gonna
Sons of
like
Ken.
this episode.
Sons of Ken is a great brewery.
What's
I
even
have to
going
say.
on?
Anyways, back to what we were talking
Shout
about.
out to what do you say, Sons of Ken?
Sons of Ken. It's a great brewery, and they have
This
it's like
episode is brought to you by Sons of Kent.
If you like Sons of Ken, remember to smash that.
Smash that
Okay, this
like
joke's getting
button.
old. This joke, I'm reusing this joke way too much.
Haley's face was.
When she says it, when she's like, smash that like.
Anyways, no, but it's really great. They have a really great like craft brewery, and you can buy their beers at the LCBO. So now they have like a raspberry wheat beer I really like. They have a sour. I'm really into sour beers. Anyways, moving on.
Saskatchewan. And this is the last school too. We're just like delaying at this point.
Yeah.
But yeah, let us do.
No, we have MD PhD after, but yes.
Yes, that is correct. Actually, if you're listening for MD PhD, stay tuned. We'll talk about it in like 5 minutes.
And don't
Saskatchewan.
forget to smash the like button.
Smash the like if you're applying to MD PhD and let us know. Even if you're listening on Spotify, just go on YouTube and just smash the like. If you already like though, then don't smash it again because it's gonna unlike. We don't want that.
Yikes.
Yeah. So first applicant pool for Saskatchewan are the Saskatchewan residents. So you need to have lived in Saskatchewan for 3 years prior to the start of university in August, or previously lived in Saskatchewan for 15 years. You can kind of mix
Wow.
and match that a bit. And more
15
information on the
years.
website if you're wondering. But like, suppose you lived in Saskatchewan for 12 years, and then you were there 2 years prior to the start, they'll still consider you like a Saskatchewan resident. But like more information about that is on their website. I'm sure if you email them, they'll gladly like help clarify for you a little bit more. But if you're not really a Saskatchewan resident, you can still be considered a Saskatchewan resident if you are a member of the Armed Forces of Canada or the RCMP, or an applicant whose spouse, parent, or guardian is a member of the Armed Forces or RCMP who has moved to Saskatchewan due to being reassigned, not resigned, reassigned. Okay.
It's okay.
In this case, the applicant must have physically resided in Saskatchewan for at least 12 consecutive months immediately preceding October 1st of the application year. So preceding October 2020 for this year, pretty much. Also, you're considered a Saskatchewan resident if you reside in Yukon, Northwest Territories, or none of it. So pretty much the 3 territories. You're considered a Saskatchewan resident as well. And then they have out of province residents, which is their second stream, which is whatever. You're on the out of province stream for that. And then they have the Indigenous stream. So currently, the college has 10 seats for self-declared First Nation, Métis, or Inuit Canadians. And the thing is, for the Indigenous stream, just like all the other schools, you kind of have to provide proof that of your Indigenous heritage. And the thing is, all the Indigenous applicants will also be considered for a Saskatchewan or Saskatchewan residency to maximize the opportunities for that applicant. So, the university is looking out for you, and that's something cool that they do as well. The interesting is that the acceptable documentation must be received in the admissions office by February 1st, 2021. So you still have some time before you hand in all your proof and documents for the Indigenous application program, if you are interested in that. Finally, Saskatchewan has a program called DSAP, DSAAP, for Diversity and Social Accountability Admissions Program. It's a voluntary opt-in program with 6 seats available for Saskatchewan resident applicants. So you have to be a Saskatchewan resident in order to apply for this. And the average gross family income over the past 5 years has to be below $80,000. Okay? The link for the DSAP app questionnaire and DSAP financial form will be available at the website following the October 1st deadline for the application for admission. So what you want to do is first apply to the school, and after that, the application for the DSAP program itself will be up on their website. So you can't see it now, but you could still kind of think about whether or not you'd be eligible for this. DSAP applicants must also provide the names and contact information for 2 references, and these references will be contacted by phone, usually in January, to answer a questionnaire constructed about information regarding the applicant and their answers to their DSAP application. So you might also want to start thinking about who you might want as your reference for this program as well. But that is everything to do with Saskatchewan.
Killing it.
Killing it.
You're doing so great.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
You're doing amazing, sweetie.
Thank you so much. And with that, we're going to transition. Thank you for waiting 5 minutes, the MD PhD applicants. We appreciate your patience, and we will start the MD PhD section of the application. Sound good?
And you get to keep listening to Advait talk.
And you get to keep listening to me talk, because we've taken it back to Alberta.
Wow.
Back to
that
the
wow
West.
was not very did not sound like it came from the heart, but
I'm just trying to be more like you.
yeah, that's true. That's what I sound like whenever they say something cool. They're like, oh yeah, yesterday I went and like saved a drowning child, and I'll be like, okay.
Advait goes, Anyways, this is what I did with my
Mm-hmm.
weekend because I am superior.
Because I'm important. I am fate.
What's that thing?
And I've been
Owen
waiting
Wilson.
for you to finish your sentence.
Owen Wilson's the one that's like, wow. That's Owen Wilson, right?
Wow. Yeah.
I'm
Wow.
not sure. I think so.
It is.
That's funny.
All right, we've
Wow.
taken it back to Alberta. So the MD
Alberta.
Alberta.
Alberta. The MD PhD program only considers students that have already been admitted to the MD program. So you kind of have to get in first to MD before you can apply to their MD PhD program. So if you're not an MD yet, can't do anything really right now, but you can still listen. And we know you love listening, so you got that going for you. There's 2 general structures to complete the MD PhD program. If you want to know more information about it, I'm laughing right now. I'm sorry.
You love listening.
I don't know what is wrong with us right now, but I'm concerned.
It's a Friday afternoon.
It's a Friday afternoon. We're just having fun. It's a fun day. It's a
I
Monday.
actually am having a lot of fun today.
You know what I just realized? Okay, this sounds super stupid, but like Monday, but Monday University. Every day's Monday if you go to Mon. Oh. Please laugh so I could like not
I
cry.
have no words for that.
No.
Please laugh. I don't want to cry.
Oh.
Oh, Admi.
If you go to Mun, every day is a Monday. Come on. That's good. It's a good joke. I'm going to say
mean,
it. Somebody else.
But by the sounds of it, it sounds like Mun is like a very like fun place to go to school.
No, it
and
is.
you're
I
like,
know.
and you're enjoying it. So, and I like for me, Mondays are like, actually no, I kind of like Mondays. It means that like it's the day that
Me
I like
too.
put my life back together.
No, it's like Wednesdays suck
Mhm.
because it's like you're in the middle of the week. You're like, oh my God.
No, the worst day is Tuesday.
We had Tuesdays off
I
last year.
agree.
It was all right.
I know, but now we have Wednesdays off this year.
Now we don't
True.
go to school in real life, so
No, we don't go to school. Yeah. But let me talk about these structures for completing the Alberta application before we get too off track. If you're entering, like, there's two ways to do it. You can enter from the MD program. So students pretty much have to advise the MD PhD program administration by October 15th in the second year of their medical program. So even like once you get in, first year, you can't really do anything. It's second year, by August 15th, you have to kind of apply. The complete application package should be submitted the following month by November 15th. For these students, acceptance into the program officially occurs after completion of the second year of medicine, at which time they undertake the PhD degree. So you complete 2 years of your undergraduate medical program, and then you go into your PhD and complete that, and then you return back to clerkship, if that makes sense.
You know, I don't know if anyone really wants my opinions on this, but I'm going to give you them anyways.
Please.
I kind of like that, like, you do it once you're in your MD because, you know, some people might not have considered that they want to do their PhD or, like, might not have considered they like research. So it's kind of nice that once you're in the program, you can decide if you like research or not, or if it's something you want to pursue or not.
Yeah. I think it's pretty cool too, actually.
Yeah.
But there's actually another way to go in this program, which is from an existing graduate program. So you can go from your MD or an existing graduate program. And in this case, students should advise the program administrator immediately upon the acceptance to their MD program of their intent to complete both degrees. And depending on the stage of your graduate training, students may have the option of completing their doctoral degree prior to commencing the MD program or after the first and second year of medicine. So suppose you're already doing a PhD, you get into med school, you can choose to complete your PhD and then start first year med school after that. Or you can start the first 2 years of med school, then complete your PhD, and then start clerkship after, if that makes sense. If you're already in the MD program, you need commitment from a graduate supervisor, but you do not require formal admission to the graduate program to submit an MD PhD application. Once again, like the application is going to be due in November in your second year, and you can find information about that on their website. If you are in a graduate program currently and then obtain admission to the MD program, you're automatically eligible for consideration in the MD PhD program. Only 2 students per year enter the MD PhD program. But yeah, that is everything for Alberta.
All right. So for Calgary, they didn't actually have a ton of information on their MD PhD on their website. Pretty much the main thing I got is that you need to apply separately to the MD program and your selected graduate program. And you also need to complete a supplemental application. So if you're considering applying for your MD PhD at the University of Calgary, go to their website. And if there's anything that's still a little bit confusing, email admissions about it. The thing about Calgary that I think is really great is they have their whole application manual as well. So that can answer a lot of questions for you too. But based on my research, I just found that you needed to apply separately to MD and graduate. So you might have to go through the graduate PhD application profile as well. After Calgary, we have MUN. So back to MUN. Again, with MUN, I just opened the website to double check. They don't explicitly say when you're applying to the program, but it sounds like you're applying while you're applying to your MD. So you're jointly enrolled in the MD program and the PhD program, and you're overseen, that will be overseen by the Assistant Dean of Undergraduate Medical Education and the Assistant Dean of Graduate Studies. So they work collaboratively. How the program works, though, once you've been accepted to your MD PhD is you complete your pre-clerkship, and then you'll typically move to the PhD portion of your MD PhD, and then you move back to your MD to do clerkship. One thing I thought that was interesting is they require you to to keep up your clinical skills with the Assistant Dean of Undergraduate Medical Education at MUN, and you must demonstrate competency in clinical skills before you move to clerkship. So I'm wondering, they didn't say this explicitly, but I'm wondering if that means you have to do an OSCE at the end of your PhD before you're going to move into your clerkship. Don't quote me on that. That's just kind of, if you don't know what an OSCE is, it's basically, what does OSCE stand for? Do you guys?
Oh,
This
it's
is why we don't-
objective standardized clinical examination or something like that. I look it up all the time because I always forget.
Yeah, because everyone just calls it an OSCE. I've never
Yeah.
heard someone call it something non-OSCE. But basically what it does is a test of your clinical skills. So you learn, like for us, like you learn in your clinical skills class, and then like your OSCE will be your final exam. And it's like with a standardized patient usually. That being said, you're also required to participate in Faculty of Medicine seminars and journal clubs in your area of research specialization if you're in the MD PhD program. And then there's also an option to have concurrent enrollment in a PhD or a master's, but they didn't say explicitly, oh my goodness, I'm sorry. They didn't say explicitly what that program meant, but I'm pretty sure you have to be in your master's or PhD at MUN. Like you can't be in like your master's at DAL and then do your MD at MUN. But if you have any questions, we'll have the website linked in our resources. And again, contact admissions. They know best about this stuff.
And the last MD PhD school is UBC. So you only need to have a Bachelor of Science to apply. You don't already have to have a master's degree or anything like that. You do have to write the MCAT because you are still applying to the MD program. The GRE. GRE,
yeah.
GRE.
I like saying GRE.
I have never heard GRE before.
That's very wrong. Like very
Why?
wrong.
That is very wrong.
That's very wrong.
But why?
It's like calling the MCAT MCAT. You don't say MCAT, you say MCAT.
Like, I'm gonna start calling him MCAT.
Why not? But like, it's like this. Can you say SAT instead of CAT? I feel like people say the SAT.
CAT, SAT.
Like your SAT score. SAT.
SAT.
Jesus Lord.
Well, you say USMLE.
Your CAT exam.
Yeah, it's like USMLE. People say USMLE. They don't say USMLE.
No, I was gonna say you smile.
You smile.
I like you smile better.
But then it'd be like a dentistry application or like a dentistry thing. They should call it you smile.
But no, for the dentistry, they call it the DAT. They don't call it the DAT.
They call it the DAT.
Yeah, but like nobody says GRE. It's GRE.
What does it stand for?
Graduate.
It's a test you take if you're gonna do graduate school.
You don't know what it stands for, so I can call it whatever I want.
Graduate re. Graduate re.
So you can apply.
Graduate record examination.
Okay.
What does that even mean? Graduate record of what?
Like a record deal. So this is like if you want to become a pop star, you gotta write it.
Anyways, they said it was optional to write that exam, but they didn't indicate whether it would like contribute to extra points on your application or anything. They just said it was optional. So I mean, like I would take the option not to write it, but that's just me.
Maybe it depends because you usually write your GRE for like business graduate studies. So maybe it depends if you're going into like you want to do like a business master's with your MD. I don't know.
I would just contact BC.
Yeah, I would contact them.
Yeah. It seems like you have to be in the Faculty of Medicine. Your studies have to be in the Faculty of Medicine and Sciences. So I don't know. Who knows?
Very interesting.
All right, but you can apply out of your undergraduate when you're regularly applying to your MD, or you can apply out of first year med. So if you're applying from your undergraduate degree, the deadline is October 1st for the application package and October 8th for your reference letters. And then if you're applying at a first year med, you have to submit a letter of intent by the 15th of October telling them that you're going to be applying. You submit your package by the 4th of January, and then you submit your online references by the 11th of January. So a little bit of different timelines there. You can also apply from your first year of graduate studies. So if you're in a master's degree, you can apply to get into the MD program along with that as well. The application is a form you fill out for the MD program, which every MD applicant fills out, a form for the MD PhD program, and then supporting documents. So they specify 3 letters of reference, autobiographical essay of research interest, and the rest of the documents they want, they list in the application package. So it seems like it's just transcripts and stuff like that. The tuition is like way cheaper. The tuition is $13,000 cheaper than the MD program, and you get an annual stipend of $21,000. So basically you get like $1 million to do this program.
Yeah, round to the nearest million.
Yeah. But you can train at any of the 4 sites. And the way, after you get all those forms and everything in, if you're a BC resident, you have to have found a research supervisor who has agreed to take you on for the PhD portion. If you're out of province, you just need to prove that there are researchers at the school in your area of interest, but you don't need to have like a relationship with any one of them. Like they don't have to have agreed to take you on. You just have to prove that like whatever you want to study, that's available at the school already. However, if you have gotten in contact with and had a professor agree to take you on, that like makes your application better. They're more likely to take you if you already have that. So they say that they really, really encourage applicants to initiate contact because it makes you more likely to get accepted into the program. In terms of interviews, you do your MMI for MD, which is what all MD applicants do, and then you also have a 1-hour panel for the MD PhD. The schedule, like whether you do PhD, clerkship, whatever, that kind of thing, is so like not clear at all. They just have this big paragraph about how you have to complete both programs, but how many years is that? They're not telling. So it really doesn't say at all whether you do your PhD before you do any medicine or if you do pre-clerkship, PhD clerkship, or that's something, I don't know if it's like different for every student depending on your program. I have no idea, and this website is not helpful. So if you're more interested in their schedule, I would encourage you to contact them and get more details about that.
Based on what you're saying, it sounds like it might be like a project by project basis, and that's why they don't give a lot of details. Yeah. It seems like UBC really wants people to do their PhD. That's pretty cool.
They do. The tuition is way cheaper. You're
considered a BC applicant.
A BC applicant. Like,
yeah.
They really, if you already have a PhD, they are very much into research, and it says that on their website. They say that they want to encourage research as much as possible. So it seems like a very encouraging environment if you are considering an MD PhD.
All right. Well, I think that covers all the pathways in Canada.
Yeah.
Except for Quebec.
Which we will cover next week. Next podcast. We'll do all the Quebec stuff.
Yeah. And then you will know everything that there is to know about admissions. You will be an admissions Jedi.
Until they change it next year and there's new cutoffs and there's new essays and there's new everything. But for this year,
small details.
But for this year, you will be an admissions Jedi.
The admissions force will be strong with you.
If you got that reference, remember to smash that like, subscribe.
Smash that like button.
We are big Star Wars fans over here.
I've never watched a single Star Wars movie. I'm not gonna lie.
You haven't watched any?
Never.
You guys haven't watched Star Wars? You want me to go get my Star Wars shirt? I love Star Wars.
We'll watch it later.
Go get it. I'm gonna go get it.
You're gonna go get it? If you're listening, she's getting her Star Wars shirt. Okay, I don't know why I've never watched Star Wars. She's like digging
through her. I have no interest in it.
I've watched all of Harry Potter. Oh, I thought it was gonna be like, okay, yeah, that's a pretty
like a Yoda shirt.
I thought that's gonna be like a picture,
I would like a Baby Yoda shirt, but
Baby Yoda's actually really
you want to buy me a present, you can get me one.
Baby Yoda's actually like really cute.
We'll set up a PO box so you guys can
see. The thing is, I feel weird about Star Wars because it's like I already know the plot twist. You know what I mean?
See, and then this is my band from when I went to Disney, my Magic band, my 3PO and R2D2 band. Fun fact, I like Star Wars.
What's a Magic band?
I know what R2D2 is because of like Lego Star Wars, like the video game. That's the only reason I know.
You only know R2D2 is an icon, so is C3PO. Anyways, a Magic band. It's like when you go to Disney, this is like your room key, your credit card. It's like your fast passes when you go on rides. Yeah, it's like all standardized.
If you watch, like, I don't know if you guys, you're definitely not following basketball. I don't know why I'm saying that. I know you guys don't. But like the NBA bubble,
Raptors.
The NBA bubble, they all have like room keys and stuff. And it's funny because they're in Disneyland or Disney World. I don't know.
No, they're in Disney World.
They're in Disney World. They're in Orlando right now. But it's just like
Disney World.
It's just funny seeing them like walk around, scan their thing to go into everything, and I don't know. I just feel like on a huge vacation.
I find the sports bubbles so interesting.
It is. I've been watching like vlogs of like athletes just like vlogging their life in the bubble.
On TikTok, there's all kinds of like videos documenting their life in the bubble. They seem like
stuff is fab. It's so
funny. It seems like they're on a field trip together. They're just having the time of their life, all of them.
The thing is, like, a lot of them are complaining though. They're like, "Oh my god, like I'm not getting properly cooked meals. My living situation is not good." I'm like, "Yo, listen, you're in like a nice hotel. You're getting all your food cooked for you. Yeah, it's
Disney food's so good. I love Disney.
Is it? I don't know. I've never been.
Oh, okay.
I've been once when I was like young.
I love Disney so much. Okay, we're not gonna get too far into this, but if you're interested in Disney food, look up the Disney food blog on Instagram. Oh my god, AJ, she is an icon. She is a Disney icon.
AJ, if you like, remember to smash the like.
If you've gotten this far, now you're just listening to us ramble. Smash the subscribe button.
Anyways, you've been listening to episode 7 of Tachy Talk. Today we talked about special admissions pathways in schools outside of Ontario and Quebec. This was the 4th episode in our admissions episode series. And next week we'll be talking about everything Quebec. So that will be all of the admissions requirements and the special pathways all in one Quebec episode. And we'll also be having the resources page for all of the schools that we covered today out very, very soon, if not today. So keep an eye out for that. And thank you so much for hanging out with us again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
And smash that subscribe button.
Smash.